All right, my favorite little adventurers, come on in, get cozy. Uncle Tom has a story for you tonight. It's a tale about a little wooden boy, a talking cricket, and some very big lessons. Are you ready? Okay, settle down. Once upon a time, in a small village in Italy, there lived a kind old woodcarver named Jip. He was a little lonely, so one day he decided to carve a puppet out of a special piece of wood. He worked all day, carving little arms, little legs, and a funny little nose. When he was finished, he looked at his creation and said, "I'll call you Pinocchio." That night, as Geppetto slept, something magical happened. A beautiful blue fairy with wings like starlight floated into his workshop. She saw how much Geppetto wished for a real son. So, with a gentle wave of her magic wand, she touched Pinocchio and said, "Little puppet made of pine, wake! The gift of life is thine." Suddenly, Pinocchio's wooden eyes blinked open. Echoed Maba, echoed talk. He was almost a real boy. The blue fairy told him, "Pinocchio, if you prove yourself to be brave, truthful, and unselfish, one day you will become a real boy." And to help him on his way, she appointed a wise little cricket, Jiminy Cricket, to be his conscience, the little voice inside that tells you what's right and what's wrong. The next morning, Geppetto was overjoyed. His little wooden boy was alive. He sold his only coat to buy Pinocchio a school book so he could get an education. "Now, go straight to school, Pinocchio," he said, giving him a big hug. Pinocchio skipped happily down the road, so excited for his first day of school. But on the way, he met two tricky characters, a sly fox named Honest John and his bumbling cat companion, Gideon. They saw the little wooden boy and thought they could make a quick buck. "School," the fox sneered. "Why waste your time with books when you could be a star? The easy road to success is on the stage." Now, this is where you have to be careful. Sometimes people will tell you things that sound really good, but they're not the best path for you. Honest John convinced Pinocchio to forget about school and join a puppet show run by a big, booming man named Stromboli. Pinocchio, wanting to be a famous actor, went with them. He was a huge hit. He danced and sang, and the crowd loved him. But when the show was over, Stromboli didn't let him go home. Oh no, he locked Pinocchio in a birdcage. "You're my little wooden gold mine. Lo. Pinocchio was terrified. He had disobeyed his father and listened to strangers. He cried and cried, and just when he thought all was lost, the blue fairy appeared. "Why weren't you at school, Pinocchio?" she asked softly. Pinocchio didn't want to admit he'd done something wrong, so he told a little lie. He said, "I was, captured by big green monsters." And as he said it, something strange happened. His nose. It started to grow, longer and longer with every fib. And they had 4 heads, he added. Asterisk zing. Asterisk, his nose grew even longer, with little leaves and a bird's nest sprouting on the end. The blue fairy just smiled knowingly. "Pinocchio," she said, "a lie keeps growing and growing until it's as plain as the nose on your face." Pinocchio was so ashamed, he promised he would never lie again. The fairy, seeing he was sorry, returned his nose to normal and freed him from the cage. "This is the last time I can help you," she warned. "From now on, you must choose to be good." Pinocchio ran as fast as his wooden legs could carry him, promising himself he'd go straight home. But on the way, guess who he ran into again? That sneaky fox, Honest John. He told Pinocchio about a magical place called Pleasure Island, a land with no school, and no rules, where boys could do whatever they wanted all day long. It sounded like a dream. Forgetting his promise, Pinocchio went with them. Pleasure Island was a chaotic carnival of fun at first. Boys were breaking things, eating endless candy, and playing all day. But soon, a sinister magic began to work. One by one, the boys who were being naughty and disobedient started turning into donkeys. It was a terrible curse for bad boys. Pinocchio sprouted long fuzzy ears and a tail. Terrified, he and Jiminy Cricket escaped just in time, jumping off a cliff into the sea. He had escaped, but now he was all alone in the vast, dark ocean. All he wanted was his father. He finally understood that his father only wanted what was best for him. He swam and swam, searching for home. Eventually, he learned some terrible news. Geppetto, worried sick about Pinocchio, had gone out to sea in a little boat to find him, and had been swallowed by a monstrous whale named Monstro. Pinocchio knew what he had to do. He had to be brave. He dove deep into the ocean, determined to find his father. He let himself be swallowed by Monstro, too, and inside the whale's enormous belly, he found him. Geppetto was alive, living on a little raft. They had the most wonderful, tearful reunion. But how could they escape? Pinocchio came up with a clever, brave plan. "We'll build a big fire," he said. "The smoke will make Monstro sneeze." They gathered wood from wrecked ships inside the whale's stomach and started a huge bonfire. The smoke billowed up, and it worked. The whale got a tickle in his nose, and then, achoo! Monstro sneezed them out with incredible force. They were tossed onto the waves on their little raft. The angry whale chased them, smashing their raft to pieces. Geppetto couldn't swim and was about to drown, but Pinocchio, in a final act of unselfish love, pushed his father toward a cave in safety while he was knocked unconscious by the waves and sank beneath the water. He had saved his father, but it had cost him his own life. Geppetto carried the little wooden body home, his heart completely broken. He laid Pinocchio on his bed and cried. But because Pinocchio had proven himself to be brave, truthful, and unselfish, the Blue Fairy's promise came true. A magical light filled the room, and Pinocchio began to stir. His wooden hands became soft skin. His painted-on clothes became real fabric. He sat up, looked at his hands, and shouted, "Father, I'm a real boy!" Geppetto couldn't believe his eyes. They danced around the room with Jiminy Cricket, celebrating Pinocchio had finally learned his lesson, and they all lived happily ever after. And you see, my little ones, that's why uncles like me are here. We tell you stories to help you learn, just like Jiminy Cricket. It's so important to be careful of who you listen to, and to always listen to your mom and dad, because they love you more than anything in the world, just like Geppetto loved Pinocchio. Now, it's time to get all snug in your beds. Close your eyes and think about all the good choices you'll make tomorrow. Sweet dreams, my dears. I love you both very much. Good night.